Hi, you guys, and welcome to the retreat planning master class about the secret skill, obviously, is retreat planning that separates a $30 an hour VA from a $100 an hour VA. I am your host and retreat queen, Jami Johnson. Oop. I am going to teach you how to create high-end retreats that transform lives, let you travel the world, and finally get paid like the expert you are. Now, I was in a mastermind group this past year, and I can't tell you the amount of coaches that were in that space that said, "Oh, my VA's doing it, my OBM's doing it, my EA is doing it, my community manager is doing it, or I am doing it." And when it comes to like planning and performing the retreats for these coaches. And when I asked, well, why would you go with your VA versus a retreat planner who is an expert in the space? And it usually came down to cost. And so then it kind of got me thinking, like, are the VAs actually charging what they should be? Because this is a skill that is at least $100 an hour at minimum. And to me, what that told me is that VAs who are planning these coaches' retreats are undervaluing their skill set and undervaluing what they're being asked to do. So I am taking today, we're going to talk about how to actually professionally elevate these skills, plan a profitable retreat for your coaches, and be able to charge more money because you've been trained by a professional versus just trying to figure it out and making a whole bunch of mistakes. Because I've also noticed that the coaches who try to DIY it, who don't have anybody who has done this before in their back pocket, there's so much that they miss. And the more people hosting retreats, and the more misses, and the more people saying that they're luxury and they're not actually luxury, is such a big problem that it's almost setting a subpar standard and calling it high standard or calling it high end. And I'm seeing this trend in the coaching industry in general, where people are saying that they have a high standard, but they're not working with professionals. So this standard is completely made up and usually is smoke and mirrors for really good marketing. And that is my soapbox. All right. So who am I? Ooh, actually, I just realized that this isn't like big screen. So we're going to make it a little bit bigger. Oh, okay. Anyway, who am I? And why should you learn from me? I know I mentioned a whole bunch of coaches already like planning their own, trying to have their VA do it, but they're coaches and they've never done this before. This is not what they do it day in and day out. As you see me right now, I am in a hotel room in Chattanooga, Tennessee, supporting a conference, and they're on lunch break right now. I live, breathe, and eat this world. I never say I'm a coach. I am an event planner. I plan luxury retreats. I'm a travel concierge service. I plan conferences. I'm an event planner first, a travel agent second. And why that matters is because it's such a difference that I deliver a level of professionality, a level of standard, a level of care that you can't just like make up because you don't know any better. I am the girl who delivers the white glove service that holds your attendees like cradle little babies so they feel safe, seen, and heard and comfortable to go on the retreat with you, which is something that is not being done in the coaching industry. I am the owner of an event planning company called Bella Events. We planned both retreats and conferences. I've done over 80 events since inception in 2016, and they've all been worldwide. Now, most of my conferences have been in the lower 48, and my retreats have all been international. So when I talk about retreats, it's usually in an international lens. However, those that can absolutely be applied to a retreat here. And while I'm a retreat girly, I am also a conference girly. However, we're going to be focusing on how to plan high-end luxury retreats for your coaching clients. Because that is super important. And honestly, that's where most coaches start. They start with, or they dip their toe into live events with retreats, and then they graduate to conferences. My mission is to have as many women entrepreneurs have a $1 million event arm of their business, because there's no reason that if you're a coach, if you actually know what you're doing, you have your it together, you should have a $1 million event arm between retreats and conferences in your business. No reason you don't. So that is my mission, bringing this course to you, bringing this course to to coaches, hosting and doing retreats and conferences for my clients, or planning them for them, is so I can impact the most amount of people as possible. And when I teach you how to do this well, that also raises the standard of the entire industry as a whole. One of my clients made 180K last year off of 3 retreats. 3. And those 3 retreats shoved her business over the $1 million cash collected mark. She passed it in August. We had a little celebration, a balloon moment, and like a makeshift photo shoot in Mykonos. And it was absolutely amazing and insane. I'm so proud of her. But like, this is also what is possible when you have a well-planned retreat and when you have a coach that has clients in a community that loves, knows, and trusts them. In today's masterclass, we're going to be breaking down my 5-phase planner formula, and it's my signature framework. It's how I plan all of my client retreats. It's how I structure and phase out each body of work in almost like a project management way, but it's an easy to remember kind of way. And it's how I plan high-end, profitable, and luxurious retreats for my clients. And I'm going to teach you that 5-phase formula today. Now, the biggest mistakes I see with VAs and OBMs when they're stuck, because a lot, and I was actually like on Instagram last night looking for a LinkedIn person, but I found all of these people, all of these VAs, they're talking about like social media marketing or email marketing or, you know, admin tasks as their skill set. And all of that is great. All of that is needed because that could take hours off of a CEO like myself's plate. However, like a lot of these coaches add to what's called a scope of work, add to the task list of things that they want their VAs and OBMs to do. And it's usually a higher paid skill task list work that they're asking you to do at a lower pay rate. They're also, VAs and OBMs, EAs are all playing like the low game. They're staying stuck because they're in low paying work. They're limiting themselves to posting on social media, to emptying out an inbox, to organizing a Google folder. And those are all low ticket services. So the way you make more money is raising your skill set, raising the bar for yourself, for your business, and calling in those higher ticket clients with a higher ticket skill set. You're also relying on Google and freebies, trying to piece together high-end skills without proper training. You're probably going to YouTube University or TikTok University, and you're trying to figure it out as you go. And then you're marketing the skill set like you already are an expert in it. And then you kind of get stuck in a trap because you don't actually know what you're doing, but you like want to know what you're doing and you really want to learn by learning with somebody else. But the free resources will only get you so far. You're missing out on premium clients because the high-end coaches are looking for experts and not just task takers. They are looking for someone who they want things done like a specific way, but they also want you to have ownership of your work and to be able to take tasks and run it. They want someone who can literally just execute on their vision. And once you build up that trust as a VA and OBM, like go to my CMO and I'm like, this is what I want done. And she's like, this is how we're going to accomplish it. And then I say, great, awesome. Give me a task list of things that I need to do to make sure that this happens and let me know what you're doing just so I have an understanding and then go. And then that's literally what we do because I trust her so much to be able to execute on what I hired her for, to be able to execute on what she's good at, that I don't need like the low level skills. I want someone who can take my ideas and go. And that is what high-end premium coaches and business owners also need, whether they realize it or not. That's what they need. And then because you're taking on so many low ticket skills, so many low ticket services, you're having to hustle and bustle in order to make ends meet, which means that you're approaching burnout. You're taking on too many clients to make decent amount of money, and so you're tired and you're booked, overbooked, and still not feeling safe and secure in your body, in your finances, in your business. Because you know that if one of your clients goes away, that could mean missing a mortgage payment. That could mean not making your car payment. That could mean not paying the electric bill. And all those things are needed to feel safe in our bodies and to feel safe and secure in our business. So, what happens when you do expand those skill sets? First of all, you can raise your rates because when you've mastered high level skills, you can fairly ethically get charged or charge your worth. So, I charge 10K per retreat minimum. That's my planning fee. That's it. If I can earn commission, cool. I'm always transparent with that. I don't organize retreats based on the amount of commission I can earn. I plan retreats that you're gonna love, and if I can earn commission, I'll let you know. But that's it. That's my minimum. Now, for the first 2 years, I was charging $6,000 and $7,000 for a retreat, mostly because I was not new to event planning, but I was new to the retreat space. And I wanted to make sure that I had a really good understanding before I raised my rate. Now, I should have raised my rate sooner. And I think that's what every entrepreneur goes through is like, am I charging too much and all those things. But you can go from $30 an hour to $10,000 per retreat. That is about $100 an hour when you master this skill. You can attract high-end clients because coaches want experts who can handle high-ticket events and not just be test takers. They want the people. I'm telling you guys, I was literally in a mastermind where I had 10 one-off sessions with coaches that are making 20K, 30K, 50K, 80K months. And I'm like, who's planning your retreats? Because every single one of you guys have said that you're hosting them. And they've all said their VA is doing it. So to me, that means that VAs need to actually learn how to execute on this skill really well because that's where the market's going. That's who like not that's where the mid level coaches are going to host and plan their retreats. So you might as well be locked and armed with those skill sets so you can go ahead and charge more. You're attracting and creating true freedom. When you work fewer hours, when you're able to charge a higher hourly, when you're doing less but being more, you are able to feel safe in your body. You're able to not have to work as much. You're able to be more creative and free and live a life of not in the rat race or the hamster wheel, trying to find your next client, trying to find your next retreat, trying to like do all the things. You also become irreplaceable. And I've seen this in a couple of coaching containers that I've been in because there's a few coaches on the internet that are like, I have such a low profit margin, or I have such a high profit margin and such a low cost. And when you look at their organization, they have one VA that's literally the glue that holds everything together, whether that's their community group like Telegram or a Facebook community that could be fixing and marketing and sending emails and courses and posting on social media and doing customer service and doing collections for missed payments. Like they're doing it all. So you should get paid for it and you become absolutely irreplaceable. And then when you're doing like being more and doing less, when you're raising your skill set, when you're charging more, you actually get to enjoy your work again because you're not working 15 hours a day and not feeling like you're getting anywhere, like treading on water. So here's a little reality check. And if you're here today, it's because you're tired of being underpaid and overworked. You're tired of being stuck in, data dumping in Excel and cleaning up inboxes and organizing Google folders. You're and calendars. Like you're here because you're ready to add more dollars to your hourly rate, to do higher paid skills, and to be more in demand. And also stand out in the sea of VAs, OBMs, EAs, all the things. When you're ready to level up, attract high paying clients, and build a business that pays you, it feels so freaking good to finally make what you know that you're worth. And being here today and learning this skill will get you there. Absolutely. In the first 8 months of me quitting my day job and going all in on retreats, I made $85,000. I made $85,000 on 6 retreats. It was awesome. I traveled Asia for 5 months. I worked like 8 months out of the year. It wasn't very much. I was able to enjoy my time in Asia. I was finally free. I didn't have a boss breathing down my neck. I was safe and secure in my clients' choices. I knew that I was the expert. I knew I was in my zone of genius, and I knew that I was living my dream life. And retreat planning is the skill that takes you from those low-paying admin tasks and turning it into 10K projects that it literally changes your entire life, your entire business organization, and everything that you've ever wanted is at your fingertips. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you today is how to get from low paying to high paying, adding high end skills to your resume, to your job board, to your Instagram and LinkedIn or wherever you source your clients. But the question is like, are you ready? Are you ready to go to the next level of your business? Are you ready to actually level up your skills so you can charge the high ticket price points? I hope so. So we're going to dive in to my 5 phase formula. Today, we're going to talk about what actually makes a retreat luxury. Now, retreats are and should be luxury. I do not dabble in the basic economy accommodations. I don't do camping and wilderness retreats. I do luxury. I do white glove. I do immaculate customer service. And I deliver this service from start to finish. I implore you that communication is key when hosting international experiences. So I teach how to have seamless communication so the attendees feel fully taken care of, safe, seen, and heard. They know who you are, they know who I am, they know or who you are. They know where they're going, where they need to be, what the itinerary is, what the style is, what they're going to be doing, and then how to get there safely. They know all of those things because of consistent communication. I find luxury accommodations. I know I mentioned like we're not camping in the woods, but we're also not at all inclusives. I am not an all inclusive girly for retreats. You tend to get like kind of eaten up in a sea of people, and then you don't really feel special. And when you're paying 8 grand to be at a retreat, you want your attendees to feel special. And then a luxury retreat is having a stress-free host who is leading and not scrambling, who is completely in their zone of genius, focused on delivering their message, focused on caring for their attendees, and just focused on delivering the time of their life and that transformational promise. Whereas you as the VA or me as the retreat planner, we're behind the scenes, blowing up pool floaties, making sure that the music's on, checking AC, checking heat, making sure the chef is on time, communicating if it changes, making sure transportation is on its way and knows where to go, and just checking in with everybody. You are the set change people. You are almost like the marionettes of the entire thing, like pulling the strings. So that way, your client and the coach can stand there and do what they do best, is pour into their community. So here is my exact framework that I use when I plan high-end transformational retreats for my clients. So it's 5 phases and it spells out planner. So it's really easy to remember. So the first phase is preparation. Think mission, vision, budget, and all these things that like we dream big and then we write them down. So that way, when we get to the next phase, which is logistics, some of the decisions have already been made for us. With the vision, with the mission, with the transformation, all of that, some of the decisions have already been made for us. So then we dive into the logistics where we find the perfect villa. We source the chef. We figure out the meals. We figure out the activities. We figure out the transportation and the itinerary, and then what to know before you go, and the communication. This is really where we set things up. And then we walk into Attendee Alchemy, which is the sales. It's selling and filling the retreat with the right people, and then making sure all of your system is fully integrated with, a landing page to a checkout cart to an onboarding email to an email sequence, and then like the Q&A session and all these things are already set up and automated. So when you're in a selling phase, you can just sell because everything is already done. And then you get to nurture. So that's anything from onboarding to how people asking questions between when they put down a deposit and when their retreat is, to any kind of like pre-retreat experience and then through the experience itself. Nurture is the full phase of when really the retreat starts, because the retreat starts technically kind of when it hits the landing page, but really gears up once they actually decide to buy. From the moment they decide to come to the retreat, through the retreat experience, they should feel held the entire way. They shouldn't be guessing where they're going, guessing what they're doing, and then guessing like what time to show up. None of that. And then once they're there, they have an attendee, they have support, and they have an understanding of who is going to be there to help them and how this whole thing functions. It's the transformation. And then at the end, we have R, reflect, refine, and repeat. And so that's basically the grand scheme, I guess, of hosting retreats on repeat. Because when you send out and grab testimonials while on site, and then you send out a feedback form to get like the unfiltered version, and then you honestly as the VA and then as your coach are going to sit down and like really reflect on the experience. What do we want to change? What do we want to keep the same? How did we feel through the whole thing? What was our energy levels like? Like what did we like, what we didn't like, and what do I want to do again? And then you're going to write all that down because you're probably going to forget in the next 6 months. So that way, when you start to plan the next one's even better. And then it's even better. And then it's even better. And then it's selling out faster and faster before you don't even have to have a landing page to be able to sell the retreat. So phase one, we're going to go a little bit deeper into each of the phases. Phase one is prepare. So this is like before you pretty much do anything. Like it's a conceptualized, I'm going to host a retreat. And that's where you start. So then you want to get your ideas from your coach, your client, about what transformation they want to deliver. Why are they even hosting this? Like, what is the point of hosting it? And it could be many things. It could be client retention. It could be to get more eyeballs. It could be to introduce community to you deeper. It could be to like promote an upcoming launch. Like that could be a turn on event for another launch. There's so many things, so many reasons people host retreats. So what is the reason that your client is hosting a retreat? What's the vision? How do they want their clients to feel? What do they look for, or what do they envision with the landscape, whether it's by the beach and the mountains? What does that look like? And then who needs to be in this experience? Who are we building this experience for? Who is this retreat, dream retreat attendee? We talk about the budget because you need to have a budget before you can have a price tag and then before you can actually open cart. Because the people who open cart before they have a budget are the ones that lose money. If you don't know your numbers, then it doesn't matter. Like you're going to lose money almost guaranteed unless you have like an astronomical retreat ticket price of like 15K. Like that's pretty much the only way you're not going to lose money if you don't have a budget. And I want to say that a lot of people don't know how expensive retreats are. And, expensive, or the term expensive is all relative, but I will tell you that my retreats usually have a 60K budget. And that price point might scare you a little bit, but that's okay. I'm here to love and shove you. I'm here to love and shove your clients. I'm here to tell you where you should be starting because anybody who says that they can host a retreat for 20K and have 10 people in it, it's not luxury. I'll tell you right now. It's not. I bet the house is too small, and I bet the food is probably going to be brought in from like Costco, and it's not going to be what you want. And then in phase one, you're also going to look at what kind of support you need, what kind of support the coach needs, and really decide how you're going to execute and what you need to execute. Phase two, the logistics. This is where the most people start and most people really mess up when they start here. But this is actually where like the luxury comes in. It's the details. So where are we staying? Is it a villa that has enough seating for everyone? It has enough rooms. If it doesn't have enough rooms, is there a hotel nearby that we can have people stay at the hotel and then bus people into the villa to have that experience and then take them home at the end of the night? Is the food luxury? I think also food, quality food in abundance is luxury. So you shouldn't be running out of food at your retreat. Private chef is always better than catering. And also there's a level of luxury there, especially because most of the time men are our chefs at retreats. I don't know how that works out that way because I'm so like women-led, women, yes. But most of the time the chefs have been men and they're like walking with food on like their hands and like telling us what the food is and like, plating it and like putting it in front of us. And it really like we feel like queens when this happens. And then transportation. We want to be crystal clear about what's included and how attendees will get around. A lot of retreats don't include like the transportation from the airport to the villa or the hotel, but they probably should include, actually, it's not probably, they should include any transportation from a hotel to an Airbnb or from a villa to like activities. Like people shouldn't have to be figuring that part out. And then we talk about the attendee and how a packed schedule is not luxury. Balanced is better, especially when you're coaching through a transformation. You need to have integration time. And a lot of coaches want to pack more and more things into the itinerary because they think that that's valuable. And in the long run, it's not valuable. You don't want anybody to leave more tired than when they arrived. And so being able to actually strategically map out the transformation that isn't overwhelming is such a huge skill to have. Phase three, we have attendee alchemy. And so this is kind of like retreats should feel easy to sell if they are positioned correctly. If your clients, if your coaches know how to sell their products and have clients coming into their doors without like they can take a snooze and they have 10 signups, then this should be easy for them to sell. 80% of the attendees should already be in your client's world. They should be past and present clients. The rest of them could be social media, but I never want to say that you should start there because if they've already purchased from you, then they're going to have a stronger level of love, know, and trust. The retreat should also be an extension of your client's offer suite. So, an easy way to think about this could be like you could go deeper into an existing course. For instance, if I were to host a retreat, I could do a retreat planning course where we would plan your entire retreat in 3 days or 4 days at the retreat itself. So, a Retreats on Repeat Academy retreat. And we go fast, we go deep. Another option could be like say that you have a mastermind. So you could have a mastermind retreat, or your coaches could have a mastermind retreat, and you go deep into one topic. So if we use me for an example again, another example could be in this 5 phase formula where people most of the time mess up is in the sales and the budget and pricing. So I could have a retreat that just goes into those two components. It's still valuable. And for like phase three with the sales, what I could do is bring in a photographer and videographer, and we could literally stage each and every person who is at this retreat on camera so they have marketing material to promote their own retreats. A lot of retreats are sold in images and video because people want proof that it's actually fun and it's actually going to happen and they want to know how to feel. And that the fastest way is not through word, the fastest way is through video and photo content. So if we're using me as an example, and I know that, and we do a deep dive into attendee alchemy, and I can tell you as a coach that you can walk away with content to that's weird, sell your retreat. That is so valuable as a high ticket retreat. High touch organic sales work best. I never suggest running ads to your retreat. If your retreat is 8K, 10K, 12K, 15K, those people should already know, love, and trust you to spend that amount of money. So, what I do teach you is how to beef up your current offer suite and get more people in the doors and have more launches in order to have more people that have already purchased from you who already want to learn from you. And then you launch your retreat to sell out. And here's the pro tip I always tell my clients is on the very, very first call, I need you to write down 30 to 50 names of past and current clients that would be a perfect fit for your retreat because we are going to personally invite them with like a handwritten note because you know who they are, you've thought about them, and you want to personally invite them. And when you do that, and when you add those details and you have that layer of thoughtfulness, you get more yeses because they see you, your coach sees them as a human being and wants to help you instead of just another person going through a machine. Phase four is nurturing. And then this is actually what there's so many places that coaches fall short. But most luxury retreat hosts and their planners like kind of forget to do this stuff. So the luxury retreat actually starts before the attendees arrive. It really starts when they hit the sales page, but if we want to walk away from that, it really starts also with onboarding and communication and how often you communicate, how frequent I just said that, how in depth you communicate and how that you lay out the expectations of what they need to know, and how often you're going to let them know the details the whole way through. So onboarding emails should be set and automated and set expectations so they know that they're taken care of, they know what to expect, and they feel taken care of. Private groups. So a lot of people have Facebook groups where it's just the retreat attendees can access it and we can have the information in there. People can communicate with each other. If they're coming early or staying late, they can self-organize, sharing a villa, and that's really fun. It's like a sleepover. A pre-retreat meet and greet. I call it a Q&A session. For my clients, host a Q&A session about 30 days out from the retreat so the attendees know what to expect. They're able to ask questions mostly around logistics and location and like what to expect. I never have my coach on these calls because I don't want it turned into a thing where they like give away coaching for free because this is just to make sure that the attendees feel comfortable traveling to the retreat. And I can't say this enough because I've already said it like 7 times. Frequent communication is queen when it comes to having a white glove experience. The more seamless of an experience that you can deliver, the more likely they'll want to join the next retreat, and your clients will hire you to plan it again because you've made yourself like so irreplaceable and you've elevated your customer service, not only for your client, but also for their community. And when their community loves you, your client is just like, all right, well, you're here, you're stuck with me like glue. And then the last phase is reflect, refine, and repeat. So if you want to scale your client retreats to consistent 5-figure profits, you need to analyze what worked and what didn't. If you want to host multiple retreats a year, if you want to sell out faster, you need to make sure that your shit is together. Like you need to make sure that you're growing. And here's the thing is your first one is probably going to be pretty messy, but that's because you don't know better. With Retreats on Repeat Academy, it's not going to be messy because you're already going to know what to expect the whole way. And I teach you how to be prepared for your first retreat. And then you're going to reflect about what happened, what didn't happen, what you wanted to do better. You're going to refine that process, come up with ways to mitigate the risk to, if this happens again, this is what I'll do. And then just kind of learn from the mistakes because usually when you have a bomb ass retreat, like people are going to love it regardless, but you'll know that some things need to be done a little bit better next time. And then you're going to repeat the process. Along the way, you're going to collect testimonials and videos review before the attendee leaves. And I usually love to have this in an intimate setting in a different room where the coach might not be able to hear what the other attendees might not be able to hear what each other are saying. And it's like a little sweet notes to the coach. And I always ask them if they approve for us to post them online or if it's just for the coach. And I make sure to mark those accordingly. So that way we know what can be used as a testimonial and what is just a really kind, sweet message. You're also going to post a feedback form. That way, if anybody has anything to say, you'll probably already have like an understanding of what might not have went the best, but they'll be able to air out their grievances in an anonymous way, and that way you can still take their feedback and make suggestions. And then after all that happens, you and your client are going to sit down and you're going to journal together about your experience, about their experience, and then come together and decide what you're going to keep, what you're going to change, and what you're going to get rid of for the next retreat. So you continuously getting your retreats are continuously getting better over and over and over again. But here's the harsh truth. Here's the harsh truth about planning a retreat without the right help and the right mentor. And I could basically write an entire book about this, but first of all, we'll start with the high level. Google, Pinterest, and free resources will not get you all the way there. All of those resources, podcast, my YouTube, my blogs, my Pinterest, you know, you can't fit everything into one blog, one podcast, one YouTube. You just can't. And every retreat is different. So when people write blogs and record podcasts and have YouTube videos and have like some sort of online education that's free, it will never be 100% of what you need because you don't have that one-on-one mentorship that can help guide you through your specific retreat. It can get you close, but it could also get you into a whole lot of messes. Because, when I'm posting like top luxury retreat gifts to give to your attendees or whatever. Well, I mean, I'm writing from a certain lens, whether that's my past clients and what they wanted, but that doesn't mean that's what your clients want. It means what I've done. But maybe well, actually, no, it's not maybe. I know of other ways to have, source, and deliver like luxury gifts that maybe my clients have not wanted to do in the past. Because a lot of the experience that I could be writing about is about what my client wants, not what I'm able to deliver. So when you look through that kind of lens, you might see that there are gaps and they're not going to get you all the way there. Not like Retreats on Repeat Academy will, not like working with me will. Costly mistakes can ruin your reputation. Not knowing what you're doing can cost your client money, waste your time, and destroy your credibility as a retreat strategist, as a retreat planner. And then also, it could also mess up your coaching client's reputation too, because like you're an extension of their brand, and a not well planned retreat could yield in people asking for refunds, doing chargebacks, um, asking to like, and taking to the internet and running their math about what happened at the retreat. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to have to get lawyers involved. No one wants to have to spend the money because a lot of bad things happened. None of that. None of that. No one wants to do that, but people will do that if they don't feel like the value met the price tag. Burnout is inevitable when you're undercharging and overworking. So sticking to low-paying tasks while trying to figure it all out is a fast track to exhaustion. And I have burnt out. I burnt out in corporate. And then I took that almost first year where I made the $85,000 in 8 months and then traveled in Asia for 5 months because I needed to chill the fuck out. Because I knew that I was so burnt out from corporate America and working 50 hours and constantly being afraid I was going to lose my job that I needed to reset my nervous system. And trust me, to this day, like event planning is stressful. I love it. It's hard and I love it. But I take care of my body and myself and my energy through breath work, through exercise, through eating healthy, because I know if I don't take time for myself to literally sit in a quiet room sometimes, I will edge back into burnout. And I know that I'm not creative. My energy is low. I'm not the personality that I am when I am at full speed. And then the VAs and OBMs who make it big, they learn how to do it right. Because when you have the reputation of doing it right, you will be booked and sold out. And the way that you learn to do it right the first time is by working with someone who literally does this day in and day out. Not a coach who hosted 2 retreats, who made 10K and is now claiming that they have high standards for their events. Not a coach who only has, who decides to plan a conference in 2 months for 100 people and has never planned a conference before. Not a coach who like decided in 30 days they're going to host a retreat and they don't know what the hell they're doing. You don't want to work for those people. What you want is someone who's going to teach you how to do this right so you can attract the high-paying clients that will pay you for your expertise, and that way you can push back when they say nonsense like that. When you be like, no, we ain't doing that. Or if we do that, this is what you're compromising. But if you don't learn from an expert retreat planner, you don't know what you're compromising by doing crazy things like that, like hosting our conference in 2 months or a retreat in a month. You don't know what you don't know because you don't have the skills. So when you learn from me, who's someone's been doing this in 2016, you're going to be better equipped and be seen more as an expert with integrity when you come at them and be like, this is a terrible idea. Let's do it this way. So, how do you master planning luxury retreats that are actually profitable and with ease? That's where I come in. I've just given you the 5 phase roadmap, but there's so much more that goes into executing retreats successfully with profit and a really good budget that's at a really good experience. This is me in Turks and Cake House with the Honeypot Company's executive retreat, and it was just so beautiful that day. So, what if you had proven templates and budget calculators so you'll never overspend and ruin your reputation for costing your clients thousands of dollars because you didn't know what you're doing? What if you had expert guidance and personalized coaching every step of the way from someone who's been there, who's done that over 80 times, both domestic in the US and international, all around the world, literally in Tennessee right now? I've been there, I've done that. In a community of retreat hosts that also has access to me when you or your team need help. Like, how valuable is that to have a retreat planner in your back pocket while you're charging a higher ticket hourly rate and you know that you're supported by someone like me to make sure that you're doing it right and the value matches the price tag? Woo! I mentioned this a few times. Introducing Retreats on Repeat Academy. Literally, there's an academy for this that is hosted by me. I teach you every single little thing that you need to know about hosting, planning, launching, selling, all the things about high-end luxury retreats. This is the only course that teaches you how to do all these things, how to plan, sell, and host luxury retreats like a professional. Because I am an event professional teaching you how to plan events. And here's what you get in Retreats on Repeat Academy that you will not get anywhere else. And even in the industry, you won't get this kind of support anywhere else. You get 10 hours of step-by-step guidance and modules. It's the exact blueprint to plan, sell, and execute luxury retreats from start to finish. It's the same process that made me 85K in 8 months. And it's also the same process I use for my client who sold $180,000 for 3 retreats, the Honeypot Company corporate retreats, all of the things that allowed me to make bank, travel Asia for 5 months, and make my clients look really good. I have plug and play templates and calculators, so there's no more guessing, no more Googling, no more Pinteresting, no more TikToking. It's going to save you so much time, energy, and effort to price the retreat correctly, to know when you should be doing what on the timeline of project management of a retreat, and then like how to plan quality logistics. It's going to save you over 200 hours of your time trying to just, when you're not Googling all this stuff and trying to piece it together, it saves you so much time, energy, and effort to have one resource that you know is an expert to learn from. You will also get live monthly coaching or hot seat coaching. Now, the next coaching date is April 1st, which is next week at 1 p.m. Eastern. This isn't just a course. This is a mentorship. This is part, it's almost like a hybrid program. It is part pre-recorded, it is part live. You still get me via a community group. It's just so crazy how much value is in here because no one else offers this, yet every VA needs this. You have the private community support. It's more than just learning, it's bouncing ideas off of other retreat hosts and other VAs and other OBMs. It's everyone leveling up together. Not only leveling up their skill set, but leveling up their retreats as a whole. Because retreats have gotten sloppy, coaches have gotten sloppy and messy, and I'm ready to bring standards back to this industry. You will get real-time feedback, accountability, and motivation from those who get it. So you reach your goals faster, so you make more money, so you're not burnout, and you feel free. And here's some amazing bonuses just for being here today, signing up for this masterclass, and like ready to dip your toe into high-end events and high-end skills that is going to skyrocket your VA company. So, exclusive bonus for you guys, you're going to get a 30-minute onboarding call, or not onboarding, but you're going to get a 30-minute call one-on-one with me. It's a personal strategy session to map out your plan and accelerate your growth. You will also get a 10-minute onboarding call because I want to make sure that you know how to use all of the resources that are in Retreats on Repeat Academy and you know where all the information is because I want to make sure that you're successful. No more are the days that you're guessing and stressing over how to figure out how to use a tool that you paid for and now there's like no guidance. I want to make sure that you understand how you're going to achieve your results and kind of what your roadmap looks like with our 10-minute one-on-one call, onboarding call, and then you get a 30-minute one-on-one call with me. And this is really good for strategizing, for reviewing budgets. It could be to talk about like how to elevate your coaching practice or your customers' coaching practice or how to analyze their audience to see if they're ready for a retreat. There's so many things that we could go deep in 30 minutes. And then this is one I'm so excited about. So my fractional CMO is going to do a live training. She's going to do a live training, and I'm so excited because she's the one that holds me together when it comes to social media presence and my emails. She holds me so, so, so well that I can be a true visionary, and she executes. It's great. So she's the marketing genius who built $1 million membership and an app with a $35 product. She is the real deal. So she's going to teach you the exact strategies she uses to drive sales and grow brands. She is the owner or creator of the hashtag files, and she's just so incredible. She is is an expert in this field, and I cannot wait for you to learn from her on how to actually like set up marketing and email sequences and help sell out your retreat faster. So the retreats on repeat doors are open. I want to invite you in, and it's at a special price, guys. This is actually insane. The price tag is actually absolutely insane because I want to help you guys. I want you guys to host better retreats. I want you guys to plan better retreats, and I want you to have a planner in your back pocket because it's time to start charging what you're worth and make six-figure income that you actually left your 9 to 5 for instead of working 15 hours for yourself, grinding and hustling and trying to find clients and trying to do all the things. And you can literally change your entire life for $33 a month. So we have two payment options, and I know I talked about the insane price because it is absolutely insane. You can either pay in full for $197, or you can have 6 monthly payments for $33. But this is literally like a short-term thing. Consider it a beta launch, if you will. Like, I want people in the door, and I want to be changing lives faster. So since this is a new product, since I am, kind of new to coaching, I'm not new to events, I'm new to coaching, have priced this so no-brainer that I want people in and I want to get them results. That's why it's a limited deal, because this is not the price tag that we're going to be charging. So if you're serious about charging what you're worth, if you're serious about raising your hourly rate from $30 an hour to $100 an hour, or from $30 an hour to $75 an hour, or from $50 an hour to $150 an hour, you have two choices. You can keep Googling, keep sticking to low-paying work, risking burnout, risking chasing dollars, risking chasing clients, chasing opportunities and people who don't see your true value. Or you can join Retreats on Repeat Academy, get the exact framework, the tools, and the support to become the go-to retreat strategist, the go-to VA that can do literally all for your coaching clients. So you need less clients and you get to do more and not be burnt out and charge what you're worth. The doors are only open for a limited time though, so I don't want you to miss this. Go ahead and use the QR code, join Retreats on Repeat Academy. It's literally open. Go now because the bonuses won't last and the price tag will not last. So if you're ready to leave that hustle and bustle culture, that online grind behind, and attract premium expert clients who can't wait to hire you, it's time to join Retreats on Repeat Academy. So you can travel the world eating gelato in Italy in July. You could travel to Boise, Idaho, travel to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and live your best life. I cannot wait to have you in Retreats on Repeat Academy. So I'm going to end this presentation here. If you're watching the replay, I'm so happy you're here. Go ahead and shoot me an email about where you're calling in from and how long you've been a virtual assistant in OBM. Tell me a little bit about your business. I would love to hear it. And I'll see you in Retreats on Repeat Academy. I'm going to stop recording here and answer any questions.